Time management is a very interesting subject. I find it fascinating because we all get the same amount of hours in a day, and yet there are so many of us, including myself, who often struggle with it. The key to remember is that time management is actually a misnomer because time management is really life management. And a lot of the tips that we're going to go into today, powerful insights that I've picked up not only from my own experience, but from talking to hundreds of the world's best time managers, is that you have to learn to manage your life well, and then your time will fall into place. Now, before we dive into it, I just want to really quickly get your thoughts. What are your, in one or two words, or a quick sentence, what are your biggest struggles with time management? Just a few thoughts off the top of your head.
Executing tasks.
What did you say?
Executing too many tasks.
Yeah, too many tasks. Yes, that we'll definitely touch on that. You have one?
I just get distracted. I go off course.
That's a good one.
Too few hours.
Yes, we all have too few hours. Yes, I agree. Called it. Yeah, I see a hand back there.
Procrastination.
Yes, it would. Yes, good one. Yeah, you have one.
Overcommitting.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a very good one. Yes, you have one.
Commuting.
Commuting. Yes, that's another good one.
Getting lost on Facebook.
Yeah, that was me yesterday. So yeah, you.
Trying to prioritize.
Yeah, that's very true. So many priorities to juggle. Yes, back there.
Procrastination.
Yes, that's a very good one. Yeah.
Underestimating the time that you have.
Yeah, it's very true. Time can slip right by. Yeah.
Getting started.
Yes, getting started with the first step. These are all, thank you for that. Love the energy of the room. Fantastic suggestions. You guys are far smarter than I am. I might as well just leave right now. But I want to start off with the fact of getting started. When you're starting something, it's very difficult to get started. Break things down into 15-minute segments. This is a powerful tactic used by some of the best time managers in the world. Don't think in terms of weeks, days, or even hours when you're just getting started. Say, I'm just going to do something for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And it works really well because I'm overwhelmed sometimes. I have a lot going on, and I don't always have time working on my next book to get as much done as I'd like. But if I can just say to myself, I'm going to work on this for 10 minutes, it'll get me just that much further. And then there's something called a momentum principle, where it doesn't happen all the time, but the momentum principle is that if you start for 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to suddenly want to go for 15, and then 20, and then 30, and then longer. But here's the kicker. Don't go into those 15 minutes thinking, oh my God, I have to go for an hour. Don't think that. Just say, literally block off, I'm going to start off in a 15-minute segment. And it sounds so simple, but that's how you get that first step that's very difficult. So we're still on favoring simplicity, and we're on the second half of favoring simplicity. I've already mentioned a little bit about writing my next book. Well, I have something very exciting to share with you. My friend Rick Woods is one of the world's best time managers, and he speaks on time management. So I had the chance to sit down with him one-on-one and soak in his knowledge. He's one of the people I'm featuring in addition to dozens of other world experts I'm featuring in the book. And here's what he said. It really resonated with me. Apply it for you if it resonates with you, but I want to share it with you in terms of favoring simplicity. He said, raise your hand if you've ever had a to-do list. We all know the feeling. Here is what Rick Wood said, and I loved it. I wrote a blog post about this. It really tied into the whole theme of the evolution of time management. You want two to-do lists. You want a master to-do list where you have all the things you have to do, not only in the next couple weeks, months, and year, but you can even have a master to-do list where you have, okay, this year, and then underneath that it might be 5-year, and you can even talk about huge goals, like if you just complete 2 main important tasks a day, that's 10 a month, that over a course of the year, you're talking about hundreds of tasks complete. So you have your master to-do list, but when you're breaking it daily, he didn't even say 2 to 4. He even said I said, what about 3? And he said, I would suggest putting 2 and just get 2 important things done a day. And that really helped me because I had this longer to-do list. And if you want, you can have that longer one, like I said, as a master, but then when you're putting it to your daily, have the 1 or 2. Very powerful tactic. It'll get you going, and it'll have you doing those important tasks that you need to do. And you can do little things in between, but that's going to be your main focus. The studies show that multitasking is a myth. And I like to multitask myself, and it can be done occasionally, but that you need to single handle and concentrate on what's at hand. So if you do have a call that comes up in the day, the biggest waste of time would be to have 80 things in your mind and you miss the call at hand, and then you have to do the call again later. And as the saying goes, there's never enough time to get something done, but there's always enough time to do it over. Set up a reward system. Now this is, I'm really excited to share this one. I was looking forward to this point because the evolution of time management says to not wait to be happy someday. If you're happy today, the catch-22 is that you will then get to the goal you're looking. So there are all these case studies of people who said, when I reach the goal, I'll be happy. When I get the perfect relationship, when I get the perfect job. And they were always striving for the someday, and they were never happy. Now, obviously, this is not a talk on happiness, but this does tie into your life and your time, because you need to find a way to say to yourself, I'm going to enjoy the moment and make the most of today by setting up a reward for myself after I do a task. I'll start really small. Sometimes if I have to make a cold call, it's nerve-wracking. I'm outgoing, but cold calls aren't easy. And it's just 3 cold calls, and it's not it's actually, if you look at my 7 marketing strategies for my speaking, it is like at the very bottom. So I've talked to speakers like Randy Gage who say, don't spend your life cold calling, inbound marketing is better. But if I have to make a couple quick cold calls, which is good to do at times, I'll have like a reward where if I made the 3 calls, I'll then eat the candy bar. Or if I made the 3 calls, I'll then drink the Gatorade. And that's a mini example. Do you ever have that moment where you have like 80 things go through your mind you have to do? And I caught myself and I was like, no, the evolution of time management, learn to be happy, learn to enjoy today. It's something I'm working on and improving every day. But it's very much worth saying because the studies show, it's a catch-22, that the happier you are now, the more likely it is you'll get to your goal. And it took me years to learn that. I was always saying, well, what if and when and someday, but then I flipped the whole thing around, and then all of a sudden it filled in. So reward yourself. So slow burning fuel means being able to understand why you want to do something. The rat race mentality is I have to do all these things, but I don't know why I'm doing. Well, there is nothing worse than doing very well that which need not be done at all. You don't want to climb the ladder of success to then realize I'm at the wrong mountaintop. You wanted that mountaintop. That's what you have to do. So if you know why you want to do something, those 30 reasons, and if you can't come up with the 30, start with 10. Scheduling your time. And we're pulling this all together now and wrapping up. Scheduling your time. When I spoke with John Lee Dumas, who's a big podcaster out in California who interviewed me for his podcast, he said that if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't get done. If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't get done. And at first, I didn't really take that seriously, but I applied his tactic. For example, I love meditation. You don't have to do that if it doesn't work for you, but that does help calm my mind and relieve some of my anxieties. And I used to never be able to have time for meditation. I'm not a morning person. I'd be running out the door, and I had all these things I was working on. But when I put it into the calendar and I planned it out, and I said I actually plan my day in advance. That's a key point. Every 1 minute of planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Every 1 minute in planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Plan your day in advance, and in addition to planning your day in advance, put it in the calendar. Put it in the calendar. If it's something you're not finding time for, that'll work very well.